Depression is such a huge topic, isn't it? There's so much that we can talk about. There's so much that's worth us reflecting together as a Christian community. I hope today's webinar has been a helpful starting point for you in thinking about depression and wrestling with depression. Let me now say two things concerning where to from here after this webinar. The first thing is a number of books that I'll recommend you to read. If you're someone who is struggling with depression, the first book to read would be Hope for the Depressed, Beyond a Cheer-Up Theology by Ed Welch. It is a very, very thin book, very easy to read. In fact, you can get it free online now in the form of an article. Ed Welch is no stranger to depression. You'll find his book very readable. It's very comprehensive. A lot of the questions that you raise about depression, you find it answered there. And it is also a very, very practical book. If you find yourself having enough energy to read just one book, pick this one. The second book is Spurgeon's Sorrows, Realistic Hope for Those Who Suffer Depression. This book outlines Spurgeon's struggle with depression. It quotes a lot from his sermons. You find yourself identifying with his depression a lot. The third and the last book is Mark Meadows' When Darkness Seems My Closest Friend. It is one of the best books that I have read, written by someone who suffers depression and who is willing to share very personally and very candidly about his journey. Now, if you are someone who is supporting the depressed, please listen to the podcast by Julie and Alistair on the topic How to Care for the Depressed. You'll find a lot of practical tips given by the both of them, who are both biblical counselors. Now, the second thing that I want to talk to you about concerning where to from here after this webinar, it's concerning the upcoming webinars that I'm planning to have. I've pitched this webinar at an introductory level for you to understand what depression is about. I have included what I hope are the essential starting pieces for you. I'm planning to run more focused webinars in the future. So if you look at webinar 1 as an introduction to depression, webinar 2, Walking as the Depressed, here we're trying to tease out what it looks like to live as a Christian who is also suffering from depression. And then in webinar 3, Walking with the Depressed, here we are trying to tease out how to be caring for our depressed friends and families, how we can be helpful, and how this encouragement with the scripture actually looks like on the ground. And then webinar 4, Churching with and as the Depressed, basically we are trying to think how to be doing it together as a community, not in isolation just between me and the depressed, but as a corporate identity, as a church, as a group of Christians. How can we be supporting the depressed together? I envision these upcoming webinars to have a much simpler format and shorter as well, probably about 60 minutes. I will give you some materials to read or to watch beforehand. Then we'll come together in a Zoom session like this one, and I will give a short talk on the topic, and then the rest of the time it will just be Q&A with a panel. I have your email addresses from the registration from this webinar. I will email you and keep you updated about the dates of these upcoming webinars, and you just sign up accordingly. Okay?